Hello and welcome to Tear Down These Walls podcast. Here we tear down the walls of silence, shame and stigma one story at a time. And today for episode 7, I have our first male guest, Danny Cummins. Danny, you're very, very welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm really nervous because you're the first non-family member that I don't know everything about.
Yeah.
And also the first male. And I didn't actually grow up with you, Danny, but I do know you from being out socialising. And I know you were one of the very first to get in touch with me, send a lovely message, and you really got what I was doing. And in turn, we stayed in contact and you decided to be the first male.
Yeah, Lisa, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Danny.
I think when I heard your podcast first, it resonated with me for so many different reasons. I think anybody that's in the inner city, past and present, will get it too. Just wanted to come on and share my bit of my story of what I went through. Probably like yourself with your kids, you know. Suppose there's a sense of abandonment there when you were young. Yeah, I mean, we had kids when we were young. You know, I was a young father, you were a young mother.
How old were you, Danny?
I was 19.
19.
19 when I had Leanne, yeah. Straight out of school, more or less, and became a father. And then, I suppose I found the party scene, and that was...
I think a few of us, I know we must talk about it as well. We had kids, but we were still kids and we wanted to be going out to be a teenager. And I always say, you know, it's them that falls the victims of our decision making, Danny. You know?
Yeah.
Which is no even thought put into it, I don't think. It's not even a conscious decision.
No.
I know for me it wasn't. But I do know the issues that we do bestow on them. And I know me and you had a couple of conversations about that. So if you want, we'll even start from, if you want to tell us a little bit about your childhood, we'll start from the beginning.
Yeah, so I came from a loving family. There was 6 of us. There was 4 boys, 2 girls. And we were living in an old Ballybough house, squatting there. But it was the happiest times, you know. And my granddad was next door, a great granddad, and he kind of raised me ma. So we're very close in that sense. And we moved to Killock then.
How old were you when you went to Killock?
We were, I think it was 6.
Okay.
Yeah. And we lasted 5 years out there. And it was different with the house.
The big change going from a flat to a house, isn't it, Danny?
And we've nothing in the house, you know.
Yeah. The space.
We had space. But thank God my man and dad were very, very good at shopping. I shoplifted.
You just shared that with me when you said your man that was shoppers.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known that, Danny.
No,
honestly.
He did it weird, you know. New furniture every week and the top of the range stuff. Like, oh, my man and dad, a great job they have. But that's what it was back then, you know, and that's all they knew because my man and dad, it's a generational thing. My man and dad grew up with nothing, especially my dad. He came from really bad, difficult backgrounds.
Where was your dad actually from?
My dad was from everywhere. You know, we were born in Dominic Street there. I moved to Townsend Street, but he kind of moved around himself and he kind of reared himself. I suppose when he had a family, he didn't want, you know, for us to have the life he had.
Yeah.
And even though we had nothing, we had everything with love, you know, and he showed us that. And he never allowed us to see the kind of things we were doing. They never did, you know. Or I was oblivious to it anyway. I was only young. But they were great parents, and as I said, when it came to Christmas and stuff, sure, we did everything, you know.
Christmas, we always got in there. They'd get into debt to give us everything that we...
But like that, like, you know, in the 80s, there was no work, you know, recession was there and no one had money. So they did what they had to do.
Only the people who was breaking the law and criminals. But the people that had money when I was growing up was people who were involved in some sort of crime. They were the only people.
Yeah. Well, same would have been the same, like, you know, that would have been my dad's skill set of how to survive, you know, when he was growing up. And I remember him telling me a story about Nelson's pillar being blown up. And he said, I was on O'Connell Street. He said, only a young fella. About 14 he was. And he said, people are screaming, people are running. He said, I ran to the jewellery shops, he said, and they cleared them all out, put them into their palm shed, that kind of way. But
Smash and grab.
smash and grab, and that's all he knew. So when he had kids, and he did work, any work was there, he did work. But when there was no work, that's what he had to do to get by. So then we left Killock in Mahale. My dad got a claim one day.
Okay.
They claimed. One of them claims, and he bought the house in Fairview. I'll never forget it. So we moved in there to 4 walls, and the place was in bits. And we all shared one big double bed. All the kids did.
Were you the eldest then?
No, where were you? I was third.
You were third.
I was third, yeah. Yeah, I was third. But what he did instill in us was that, work ethic. So when the house got sorted and stuff, we'd have us working on the Saturday morning all day, sometimes Sunday as well. Could be with the cow man, or it could be out mowing, doing the gardens. So he did teach a lot of good stuff.
It's funny, when I first met you, which you would have been in their late teens, when I first seen you around, and I didn't know where you were from. Now it makes sense to me. But after telling me it was Ballybough, Killock, and then Fairview. And I always thought you were different to all the other lads that I hung around with at the time. Yeah, you were very well polished, you were very well mannered, you were well spoken. You didn't give off that, hey, what's the story sort of vibe to me, and I think it was the singing, wasn't it?
It was always, I thought it was, Lisa. And there's nothing against the lads, but the lads are buying the old Ben Sherman shorts back in the day. And it just wasn't for me, and then I'd be going out buying my own clothes. Yeah, I got a lot of stick because it was kind of stood out a little bit differently.
Polished,
polished. Yeah, I say polished.
Very, very polished.
Yeah, I like the appearance, But and I suppose when we met then, it was like the peacock.
The peacock. We were just talking about it before we started there. That's when I thought, and I loved it. I think we all loved it.
I did.
You were like, it was chill. I said, Jenny, it was 5 nights a week.
5 nights a week, yeah.
Monday was games night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I look back with such fond memories of those times. That's where all the partying started for us, I think. And you described to me, I let you, you did the karaoke there.
I did, yeah. So we mate ran the place, and I don't know what it was. I was only new to town, in the sense of, when I was growing up, I didn't really go near town. I had a good sense I was going to stay away from it. And then I obviously got seen to get up in town. Then we fell into the whole setup. Now, come here, the peacock was great. It was innocent times, and
well, we were wild though, Danny. And it was massive drinking and drug taking.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah,
a lot of the lads, I think I said to you, a lot of the lads that I would have hung around with, we were talking about working and being involved in crime.
Yeah,
and I don't think one of the lads that I hung around with, any of them were workers.
No,
I genuinely, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
No,
and I'd say I'm wrong, but
no, you're right. I think, as I said, I became a school, I became a dad very young, and then I found city centre. I found Peacock. It was great crack and stuff, but you're right. We had a lot of social gatherings, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
And I would have done a lot of cocaine was my choice of drug. And come Friday night, I was out, and come home Sunday evening. And I think I missed out. I know I missed out on a lot with my daughter, and I spoke with her yesterday, and I just said, look, doing this podcast, I want to talk about, when you were small growing up. She said, don't worry about it, it's okay. I didn't notice it. I didn't notice you went there. And that was hard to hear, because you think kids are resilient. Just get on with things, just go on, sit, just pop in and say, are we okay? And I was so caught in my own head of my own traumas, At the time, I didn't even know I had traumas. I thought I was out partying. Looking back now, I was numb on something. and masking it up best they could.
Isn't it funny though, because I know I had people come to me and said, I never realised you were that bad. And I said, because we like, when you are that bad, you make more of an effort on the exterior to try and hide it. It's like some of the great comedians of the world, like, you know, you've Robin Williams and all these people, they make the whole world laugh. And these are the people who suffer the most, because you get so used to putting on that mask. I mean, if I rolled dried my hair and put a bit of lipstick on and I smiled, no one knew what was going on. I could hide it so well.
Yeah.
And with the little bit you've just told me and how I said you presented yourself, it's making sense to me now as to why you made probably such an effort, Danny, for the exterior to look so polished, because then no one will ever know what's going on. And you know,
people always say to me, you look great, like you're always happy and, you know, you're always smiling going around. Yeah, you know, because I couldn't let anybody in. I couldn't, Lisa, you know, I was terrified to let anybody in. I didn't know who I was. I was 20 different personalities rolled into one. And like that, when you're in an environment where someone is posh, you try to put on this accent to be
tell me about it.
you know, to be, you know, but I'd always question, you know, be terrified going to let's say, to a school. Like any kind of education environment, terrified because
the intimidation.
The school upbringing I had was horrendous.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about it. We said we'd go into it. So what was school like for you?
I remember being in William Street when the nuns were there. And I remember the big ruler across the hand. And then we moved to Killock. And my dad said, they're not going to a local school. I want to bring them somewhere that's decent. So we went to school in Concealy. At the time, Concealy was close to Malahide. And you're going to go there. So we all went there. And for 5 years, I had the same female teacher. And I can only describe it as being horrendous. It was physically, every day, a beating. But it was the emotional. The emotional of being told, you're no good. You never become a man. Sitting there, you know, and that stuck with me. That imprinted on me throughout the rest of my life. And the physical I felt I could take, it was the emotional.
It's worse, isn't it?
It is.
Emotional abuse is worse.
It really is. And a child going through that. And when I heard Christine talk about being put in a bin to face the wall, I could totally relate to it. You know,
that's when you actually text me and said it was so great to hear someone else talking about the effects, because she still suffers. She still sometimes feels inadequate in a setting of in our academic setting like today. And she's in Trinity doing amazing. But it's had such a lasting effect on her, Danny.
It does.
You know?
And it'll always be there, like, you know, and I suppose that when I had that, I went to secondary school. Secondary school was a wipeout for me. Like, it really was. Like, I'm genuinely talking, like, I got nothing in school. I didn't understand that. And now, it didn't help that I couldn't sit easy, you know, and I don't say it lightly that I'm now an SMA in 15 years doing that, and I think, looking back, I would have qualified for ADHD, you know, absolutely. But back then it was different times. But it was just, I could never, ever sit in an education environment. And then when I got the SNA job, I went back, and as I'm working with kids in the classroom setting, I'm re-educating myself again. You know, to the basics of.
It's nearly like you're nurturing that little kid, all, you know, the inner child work. And I know a little bit about that because I've had to do it. But isn't it funny, the jobs we choose and where we end up? And it's all got to do with repairing that part of yourself that that was so damaged.
So damaged.
Whatever age it was.
So damaged. And like you're in classrooms, you're so engrossed in the subject. Let's say history. I love history. And about Irish history again. Stuff that I should have known years ago. I haven't got a clue about, you know. And I did that, and I was like, okay, do you know what? I'll be an SNA now because I can just sit in the back of the classroom and get paid for this and work with kids. And I love working with kids. They're great. But
You were actually Clayton's SNA.
I was Clayton's SNA.
You only told me that yesterday. I was telling him that I was having you down. He's like, no way. And then I remember, because I remember him coming and he said to me, do you know what anything comes that I do? And I said, you don't start fucking acting the bollocks. I'm running you too late. And he said, man, he was sound, but I gave him a hard time. I just wouldn't do what I was told.
You know what? He wasn't the worst though. You know, but academically he was really good. And people saying, but he had this and that. But you know, I always say the child first, you know, disability after that. But he was actually, you know, really good.
Yeah, no, do you know what? He's he's always had issues in school and was diagnosed very early with dyslexia and ADHD. But I never used that, you know, with him. I didn't, and you know, I never says to him, well, he can't learn or whatever. But it caused a lot of issues for him, and he was behavioural issues in school. But he was always a smart kid. I mean, you give him numbers and you give him a little business plan, and he knows exactly.
Absolutely.
But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So going back to school, re-educate myself again, and then you know, I know the basics of a laptop. I know the basics, you know, and I know I need to go off and do a course. But when I heard you talking about doing your courses and doing this, I was like, wow, you know, took a lot of inspiration from that about you saying, yeah, I did. Going back to college and doing this and doing that. Same with Christine as well. It's like, you know what? Maybe there's a chance that I could do something. You know, I didn't want to be an SNA for the rest of my life. I don't want to be. I'm trying to better myself as well. But I was always the master of procrastination or self-sabotage. I'm going to do that course. I'd look at it and I'd flick off and say no, because I think, in my head, I'm thinking, I'll go into a classroom, 20 people sitting there with their laptops, typing away. I'll have my pen in my hand. You know, old school. You know,
but you see, the thing is, you're thinking you're the only one out of those other 20. It's not true.
No, I know that now.
It's really not true. Like, even in my group, because most of us are mature people going back to do the course that I'm doing. And I'd say there's half of us that, and we really help one another. It's not a big deal. Like, I would be a dinosaur still compared to other girls.
Yeah.
And even doing the assignments, I have so many tools that I use. Grammarly is a big one because, as you can imagine, the grammar.
I know.
I pay for that one. I don't even use the free one. I get the but it's like I figured out the tools I need because I can accept who I am and what level I'm at, Danny. And there's so many tools now to be able to learn. And you know, we have a voice now. We're not those little kids. I know that you feel like that little kid, but it's and I've said it to you. Just get on and click and you know and do it.
And that's it, you know. I suppose, like, you know, I'm doing a lot of work with myself the last 3 or 4 years. I spoke with my daughter. She's now an amazing young lady. She's a mammy. She's a fantastic mammy. And she's been through a lot as well. About me and her mum. You know, me and her mum don't talk, and that's fine, you know. But that's my fault. A lot of it's my fault. You know, and I have to own that. You know, and if I'm being honest, like, you know, I inflicted start the whole life, maybe, of abandonment because I wasn't there. You know, I wasn't present for myself. You know?
Well, you've heard me say, how do you meet the needs of your own children if you can't meet your own needs? And I heard people say, you got to fill your own cup before you could fill anyone else's. And because of the experience I have now of being able to look after myself really well, I naturally just look after my children now.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'd have had them tools at 16 having Clayton, 21 having Carla, 25 having Luca, if I had the head I have on now, well, then they wouldn't have had the issues that they had because I'd know better. But I didn't stand.
No.
And I know it's hard to sit with. I mean, I look at the damage that I have caused to three children, and that's still ongoing with some of the behaviours and the issues that they're facing. And I either stay getting well and continue to do the right thing, or else I let guilt and shame riddle me. And then I'm never going to be any use to anyone, you know?
It's the shame, isn't it? Like, you look back and you say, should have done that, could have done that, you know. But when I was off doing what I was doing the weekends, you know, I was healing myself in some kind of way through drugs. I didn't fall into addiction. It was the weekend thing for me. I was just saying, right, I'll work all week, come weekend. But the thing for me, maybe, I don't know, yeah, but maybe I was an addiction. I don't know, because I wasn't a drinker, Lisa. You know?
I said that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't remember Danny being
No.
a massive drinker.
No.
I didn't remember that
No.
about you, or you ever looking, you know, bad, like from, like, I mean, disheveled looking or anything like that.
Do you know what it was as well? I think that when I walk into a pub and get a 7-Up, and I'd be in the toilet a few minutes. I'd be in the toilet a few minutes later, doing what I was doing. But one day I seen a photograph of myself. Whoa, what is that? His face was all drawn, you know, gaunt looking. I was hanging around with people I didn't even know the weekend, you know. One party would lead me over to this place, Southside. You know, party was a party, I was there. And then I think my son was born, and Dane was born. I knocked everything on the head. People.
When you had Dane?
Yeah, I knocked everything on the head.
How old is Dane now?
Dane's 22.
Okay.
And I knocked everything on the head. And I stepped away from the crowd I was with. Thank God there was no mobile phones back in the day. You know. And I stepped away. I was on my own for about a year and a half. It was a lonely time. A very lonely time. Like that. I was probably playing football or doing sport or in the gym to fill up my day. And then you connect with people that are just normal.
Was this after you had Dane? How old were you when you had?
I was 26.
26.
Yeah, I was 26. Now, saying that, I joined the band.
I knew you joined the band. I was so to myself when you were coming on. I was like, I'm really sure Danny was in a band, but I couldn't fully remember Danny.
Joined the band, and I have to say, the support in the city centre was always great.
What was the band called?
Fifth Avenue.
Yeah. I remember it now. I used to work in a casino, and I think a couple of the guys out of that came into the casino.
Probably did, yeah.
One night. Because I remember him sort of acting like he was a really big star. And I wasn't very impressed with him. I was like, look at this fucking idiot.
Do you know what?
Tell us about it, though.
So, we joined the band anyway, and 2 girls and 3 lads. And 2 of the members are from the North Strand and from town. Got together and we were rehearsing for about a year or so in the race course in Ballybough. And we had no money, we had nothing, no plans. And the guy looking after us, in fairness to him, you know, he's very eager. And he got us on the Westlife tours. And so we'd written one song called Spanish Eyes. And
I'm going to have to play that when you go.
Yeah, Jesus. We were in Manchester. And we were singing it, and this guy came over and said, "I'd like to meet you," stuff. He was head from Virgin Records in Germany.
Wow.
Yeah, so we ended up signing for Warner Brothers, Warner Music. Sorry. At the time we signed a guy called Michael Bublé or something as well.
You are joking. Michael Bublé.
So we were in France, and they flew us over to France. We signed a deal and all that kind of stuff. But we met so many big proper stars. Like, we're watching Lenny Kravitz walk in with a lady on each arm, like, you know.
That must have gave you a massive ego.
Yeah, it was mental, you know. But you know, it's when all the big stars, you know, and it was crazy. But like, I remember being in it. Like, so I was clean, I hadn't touched that, and we were doing an after party. We're doing this after party. Top of a hotel, and it was bizarre because you had these waiters walking around with a tray in their hand of cocaine.
You are joking.
And as I'm talking to you, I'm leaning over. I didn't look, people leaning over, sniffing.
Oh my
as if they're taking a glass of champagne. It was mental.
No wonder they end up in so much trouble, stars, because I mean they're human beings. They've
Oh,
issues like what we're
it's
talking about.
crazy.
Like, can you? Well, I'm trying to imagine myself at
Mm.
21 being at a party where people are serving on a tray.
On
So I
a
wouldn't
tray?
have left the party.
You wouldn't have left.
I wouldn't have
You
left
know,
the party.
I
I'd have been
think,
still there now.
I think I was so strong. I was like, it's not for me. Like, you know the way. And
And is that what you were able to do then, Danny?
yeah,
Were you able to
I,
abstain even
yeah,
at
I
that?
didn't. I had no interest in it.
You were
'Cause I
focused on
knew,
the music.
I knew where it brought me.
Mm.
It brought me back to a place I didn't want to go back to. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I was kind of keep myself busy with the music. You know, the little bit of fame that we had, it was amazing. You know, we seen some amazing places. But what it done was it took me out of Dublin
Mm.
and it took me away from all the carnage.
Yeah.
You know,
The chaos.
that was
Mhm.
in there. And when you go home, you walk down the North Strand and come here. Yeah, city's an amazing place. The best people come from the inner city.
I
You know?
know that,
Yeah.
Danny, and that's one of the things that I constantly say. Like, you know, these are my people. I
Yeah.
feel like, you know, these are
Yeah.
who I belong to as a person.
Yeah.
But what I just love to be able to do right now is highlight the challenges, and that's different to, you know. I mean, I'm always going to be an inner city person. I'm never going to be anything
Same.
else. Like, you know, I'll
Yeah.
always refer
Yeah.
to myself as being inner
Yeah.
city. Yeah.
Absolutely. But you'd walk down and you'd see the people. I'd see the people I used to hang around with.
Mm.
Some are dead now, you know.
I
God
say a
rest them.
lot, Danny.
A lot of them, and the rest of them are like, some are in recovery and some are just about getting by, and you're like, could have been me. You know, I never got carried away with being in the band. Some people might say differently, but I didn't. I always had me feet on the ground, you know, the way, because I knew it could end tomorrow.
Yeah, you had that awareness.
Yeah, I was aware that,
Yeah.
like, you know, I was just enjoying the moment of what it was. But it was a great time. And like that, all good things come to an end.
What happened with it?
Do you know what? What happened was that we were away at the time we're doing well away. I remember being in Sweden one time and we were number 1 and Usher was number 2.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, I've knackers from the north side being number 1 in the country, like, you know, that kind of way.
That was an awful impression to have of yourself.
I know,
But
but
isn't it
do you know what?
terrible?
We were in France one time, I'll never forget it, and I said, lads, go for a swim upstairs, you know. So we're upstairs and your man David Charvet is there, guy from Baywatch. A really good looking guy. You need to Google this.
I know him if I
Yeah.
saw the picture. I'm
A really good
brutal
looking guy, and he's sitting there, he's walking out, and he's like, get up, glasses on, and the women sitting beside him, and we're all in the pool, yeah, you know. But it was great, and what happened was then we moved to the UK, and we're just another band in the UK. The market was flooded, so many bands, and I hate it. I personally hate being named. It wasn't for me.
Okay.
I didn't like it, and I was missing my kids. You know,
Many kids had you got down then?
Two kids, you know, and I was missing a lot. So we called it a day, and I went back home, and it was hard because going back home to the kids and family was great. But I had no money. So I was signing the door. You know, 3 weeks prior, I was singing on the West Wales tour.
And you're all mixing with the likes.
Mixing with the people that have money. You know, and think this is my life. Like, you know, we part of this. I got a few quid in to come home to.
Well, it's like the future projections and dreams are not there anymore.
They're not there.
That must have been extremely difficult.
The come down. The come down was hard.
Yeah.
You know, having to answer to people, like, you know, what happened to the man? Then you got people in town that are laughing in your face, saying, like, you know, but on me, I was like, that's a jealousy thing. That's you know, their thing.
But you think all these things do bother us? We say they don't, but they build up. And
they do.
I think they do. I do think it's like I heard a boy thing, you know, someone stabs you with a toothpick, it's okay. But if someone keeps stabbing you with a toothpick in the one spot, it's going to end up haunting. You know, that's the way I think it. You know, little remarks here and there, but they eventually do add up.
They do add up, you know, and then people want to see you fail as well. Like, you know, and it's a horrible thing, you know, that you think the same people sit back and hope that you fail. you know, instead of saying fair play to him.
You
trying
try.
to better himself, you know,
Try.
trying to get out of Dublin, trying to do different things. And yeah, coming home, going to the Labour, being refused, social welfare, the Labour's social welfare. But yeah, refused the social welfare, not having nothing. So what do I want to do? Because I wasn't a DIY man, you know, it just wasn't in me. My brothers were all great at doing that kind of stuff. It wasn't for me. And then I stumbled upon the SNA course. I'm like, right, give this a go. And I suppose I'll always take from the music, you know, the memories, and working in the school, telling young kids, this Friday, I went with a band and I
To have
the
that
world, you know, and
experience.
have the experience. Not many people have it, you know, and seeing the world in a different way, that, you know what, there is life outside Ireland. And then at the time, not many were going to Australia. A few were, but I would always recommend to young people,
Travel.
go and travel and live a little. Just see a bit of life and different cultures and stuff.
No, and you know what, I always recommend that, because I think when you're brought up in a bubble anywhere,
Yeah.
and you're brought up behind these walls, that, you know, you feel like,
Yeah.
and it's only when you discover how different other people live and you have all these new experiences, it
Yeah.
really adds so much to your character.
Yeah.
It makes you more open-minded, because you know the people that you were talking about, that was like, ha, you failed. Like, I think it's that, you know, people who's really narrow-minded, like,
Yeah.
and I probably, look, we're all guilty of it, you know, to that type of thinking. But I think now, like, I'd like to think, to say to someone, oh my God, you tried that. That must have been a great experience. It didn't
Yeah.
work. What's next?
What's next?
What's next?
Yeah.
Life is full of chapters. That's the way I start to look at my
It
life
is.
now, Danny.
It is.
So I've had so many different chapters already, and I failed in so many of those chapters. Some of the chapters are fucking terrible from start to finish, like,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
they're not nice stories, but there's been moments of joy and happiness in them. But I feel like now, I'm not scared anymore to
Yeah.
try and to fail,
Mhm.
because think of how much you learn from the failure.
Well, when I
Think
hear
about it.
Christine talk about just sitting there, I see my husband, you know, submitted her form,
Yeah, she's quite.
and she got thrown down. He said, "In the failure yet again."
Mm.
And I sat with that, what she said, for about 2 days. I was like, failure, how would I feel about failing again? You know, would it bring me back to a place where, you know, child of failing, feeling hopeless and stuff. And then you hear the outcome of a story. You have to fail to progress. You know,
You learned so much.
yeah, I did, and I took a lot from that podcast, and for myself, about going on and doing different things. I suppose, like, you know, the world's a different place today, Lisa, and Dublin sure is. You know,
You know, so many people want to talk about this stuff and make changes and get well. And like, I'm behind them nearly like I'm cheering on a football team, and I'm like, come on, you know, you can do
you
it.
do it.
Let's start this sort of, nearly like, wouldn't it be great to see a revolution of people, you know, want to get well? And when you're suffering, your go-to is not alcohol and drugs. It's conversation. It's connecting with people who's doing well. How did you do it? Let's share that. And I know we're going to come to this later, but I know you're doing an amazing thing in Dinner City right now.
Yeah.
And I really feel like you should talk a little bit about that, because
I will, I absolutely will. I suppose, just before I do, I suppose, you know, look at young people today, even my son, you know, and they're all battling their own demons, and, you know, their outlet is drugs, you know, and today there's so many different forms of drugs you can have.
Yeah.
And I suppose 4 years ago, I come to a place in my head where I couldn't function on a daily. I couldn't, you know. I was like, what is wrong with you? What's going on? It was my traumas. I'm not dealing with them.
Was it your mental health? And
My mental health, it was. I was 39 when I went and I got help. And I sat with a great therapist, a fantastic therapist. And she did about 12 to 15 sessions with her.
Okay.
And a lot made sense. And then I was like, that's me, I'm healed. Okay. Sorted now. Won't be a problem ever again. You know, when the little knock comes on the door again, I'm here, I'm back.
Yeah.
And I've sat with a lot of medicine people. When we say medicine people, there's a lady that does shiatsu. She's from the Amazon.
Okay.
And she is amazing. And she kind of opened everything up, Pandora's box, but I couldn't close it. And I couldn't close it.
Once you see it, you can't not see
Not
it
see
there
it.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I sat with her once every kind of 3 months because it was so raw. The emotion was so raw. And I'd have to sit with it for a month straight on a daily.
So difficult.
So difficult.
It's so difficult.
My saving grace was Port Miney Beach in the water.
Mm.
And the water saved me in so many different ways. And people would say, how did it save you? So when you hit that cold water, the dopamine hit, you know, of you're safe here. You're safe in this water here, you know.
There's something about it. And I hear so many young men, particularly more so than women, talking about an early recovery.
Yeah.
What the water does for them. You know, they're going on going for sea swims, and it's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
These lads are talking the very same about what it does for them. So there is definitely something in it.
It is, and like, I know people go out for the photographs and stuff. And if I go out and take a photograph, it's to encourage other people to jump on board and get in the water. You know, it saved my life in many ways. But yeah, so I done the shiatsu with her, and her name is Nelly, an amazing lady. And then I had the pleasure of sitting with a guy that was a facilitator in Campbell.
Okay.
So Campbell is originally from the Amazon again. It's a frog from the Amazon.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, so I'm intrigued.
So basically, the frogs are never harmed. So they take, it's administered through the arm. You just bore a little tiny little hole in your arm.
I did see it before, I think on social media, yeah.
And you just take the secretion from the frog and you put it on your arm.
Okay.
And basically, you will never feel a detox like from your mind, from your head to your top. The way I always purge, you know.
Okay.
But what you're purging is stuff that's been manifesting there for a lifetime.
Okay.
And what I get from it is the body just relaxes.
It's like a release.
A little release, like a detox, what it is, you know.
I don't have any experience of any of those alternative therapies, and I'm definitely not against them. I don't have much to say on them because I haven't experienced, but I'd be very open to trying it.
Well, I mean, I do it for myself, but my brother does it. My brother has an autoimmune disease, and my brother's been on every kind of tablet you can name. And the side effects of the tablets were depression.
Okay.
You know? And from the autoimmune, it left him in a wheelchair. Working hours done, he couldn't work anymore. Bills weren't being paid, you know, all that kind of stuff. So massive trauma for him, massive trauma for the family.
Yeah, for sure.
Now he does Campbell probably 4 times a year. He's back working full time. He's mobile. Yeah. It works on everything these days. You know, it's just that we're not used to it here in the Western world. You know, we're just told, take tablets. Take this, take that, you know. The doctor says so.
It's the go-to, isn't it?
You know, so so I was like, I want to be in this company of people. And I've sat at the hippies, you know, at concerts where years ago we would have sagged them off saying, look at them weirdos.
Danny, I went to a sober one in Cavan before, and like that full of hippies. I went on my own and I camped for a night, and there was a lake to go to swim in. And when I went down to the lake, they were all naked, the men and the women, and I was like, you know what, go and do it.
Yeah.
No, but I couldn't. No, it was too much exposure, and I thought, you know what, maybe another time. But yeah, look, it's nice to mix with other groups of people. It really is. I love it. I love any new experience.
Right. And like from that, like, you know, I'll be grounding myself. I'd be like up the hill of Tara, you know, and that's one place I recommend.
It's beautiful.
The frequency up there is just crazy. But it's finding these tools now, that I found, and I'm working with amazing people. So I wanted to do something for the community because it was like, there's no services out there for anybody,
It's very difficult for people to find services that's affordable.
That's the thing. Services that are affordable, and also services that are not overloaded. They are not another number coming through the door, that you listen to. So I was like, I started summing them up. I had no idea. I was like, just go with your go. All you have behind you is life experience. And I've so much of that. And I was like, right, okay. So I decided to set up a trauma healing support group. And I couldn't get a hall anywhere. I had no money. It's like, what am I going to do? And I met an amazing woman that is a fantastic advocate for the NFC. Jay Brennan.
I worked under Jay for years, and do you know she still gives references and speaks? And she rang me, sent me a message, and she listened to the podcast, and she says, I always knew that there was something there in you that you would be able to. And there she is, like, I must be 20 odd years. She still supports me.
She's amazing. Oh, listen,
so shout out to Gerald.
Gerald. She's the queen of town. I said, Janice, I have no money. She said, right, you got a heart? I said, look, I emailed people in Fairview, Tarf, Condra, Clonliffe Road. None of them would even email back. Right. She said, there's a room down the road there in Shelfree if you want it. I said, yeah. She said, it's the crash. But when they're gone, I said, yeah, we'll make it work.
The good people of Sheriff Street.
Good people of Sheriff Street again.
They triumphed. They came through.
Listen, and then she, with all the contacts she has, she got €1,000. That's all I needed to get started. She got the mats, the lights, the candles, that kind of stuff, And set it up. And in my head, I was like, it's going to be great. People are going to be queuing outside the door. It's going to be brilliant. Everyone wants to heal.
You're such an optimist. What am I thinking about?
The mind ran away with me.
Yeah.
So I was going up. There's no one there. It's like, oh God, 3 weeks, no one there. So what do I do? So stopping people on the street. I said, this new group coming in now, it's just what we're doing.
Yeah.
With that, 3 people coming up, 3 turned to 10.
Yeah.
It's great. And I suppose the racial women will always outweigh the men.
Mostly with stuff like that. It's hard to get isn't it? It is. Yeah.
So it's trying to balance the masculine and feminine, energy together. So, so we started off. So it went so well. The girls in the first group were excellent. Brought an amazing practitioners, facilitators. Had this guy that does breath work. He lives in the forest. His little van. Away from
everything.
So when he comes in, he's like different mindset.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring these people in. So people have these tools in life of, if it's Reiki, if it's breath work, wherever it was, coming in, talking.
But even to provide a space for people to talk is amazing. For free. When I was really, really suffering and like that, no money, don't know where to go, wasn't ready to give up alcohol, but I just wanted someone to understand me and relate to me. I wanted to go and be able to talk to people who had just lost a husband and who was struggling at home. And I remember going online looking for a group, maybe it was a year, I don't know the time frame, Danny, but I said, if I can just go in somewhere where someone understands, no one understands. And I was really, my family was, do you know what, my family never got sick of you, Danny, but I'd say they were at their wit's end at times with me, what else can we do? And but I thought I can sit with other women, and I couldn't find a group. I don't know whether I wasn't looking right or but there was nothing. And when I heard you did this, I was like, what people need. You know, somewhere good.
That's it. And I didn't want, I made it very clear from the very start, there is no therapist here.
Mm.
I didn't want that.
Yeah, it was a different type.
Yeah, I didn't want people coming down and saying, you know, this is a stupid question. Nothing is stupid.
No,
there's not a stupid question. There's not a stupid answer. You know,
yeah.
I wanted to have a space where people come down, offload, you know, laugh, cry, dance, whatever you want to do on the night you could do, and there was no judgment. And I always said that no one's trauma is worse than being else.
No,
you know, trauma is trauma.
Exactly.
You know? So we created that space, and we're there now. We have Deco Gan.
Deco Gan. God, I haven't heard of him.
Deco,
I saw him in years.
Yeah, Deco Gan.
Is he there?
He's there, okay. Yeah. He does it, and Sarah Dunn from Port Row. Sarah Dunn is seven years.
Tanya's sister. I know Tanya really well. Yeah, okay.
So they facilitated me, and because you need 3 people. You do need the help. So, and it's mad. The people from different walks of life coming through that door. So we said, like, we do a 10-week group, and that was in February. That same group,
February?
Yeah. That same group is still active on a Tuesday night. Same people. And you'd have people, we have an amazing lady from Clontarf, you know. She is amazing. And we have one of the funniest people from town, you know, not Mary Mitchell.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And it should
I know everyone knows Mary.
Yeah. Yeah. You should never work with these two, but that's friends, you know. But now we've added people now lately into the Tuesday group. And we have a Saturday group going as well. We have.
That's brilliant.
It's great. It's fantastic. So look, you know, like everything else, you know, you learn from mistakes. You know, but it's just keeping simple. You know,
it is. It's not overcomplicated, isn't it?
It is. It is.
And even with doing this, I was like, Lisa, don't have a list of questions, because I was getting in, like, just have a conversation, let people say what they need to say. There's power in that.
Absolutely.
Just talk, and so that's
exactly
right?
It. So the group is called Soul Haven.
Soul Haven.
Yeah.
And you're on Instagram.
On just on Instagram, you know.
Okay.
But you know, we said this time around, get guest speakers in. I was trying to get Rachel Keogh in. Remember Rachel Keogh?
Rachel Keogh. Give me a little.
Remember her arms were actually falling away from heroin.
Yeah, I don't know, Rachel.
Her book's amazing. That's something you should read.
Okay.
Who was now a therapist.
Brilliant stuff. Is she from up the street?
She's from Ballybough.
Ballybough, that's why I probably didn't know her then. Yeah, I'll look into it.
But like that, I spoke to you about coming as a guest speaker.
And look, I'd love to.
Yeah, like, it's fun. We hold it in the inner city, you know. And again, big shout out to the inner city, because the hall we have a different hall now at the moment, but it's people in town that make this work. And I really mean this.
They really come together when it's needed, though. You know,
they really do.
Yeah. They support one another, like,
and that's it. You know, and this is great, because what we've done is now, in my mind, I had a plan. It's community based only, and now with people coming from Fields and Ballymoon, Gabarrick, even though 80% is still people from the inner city. You know? But like, as I said, it would never have worked without the looks of Jer. You know, and other people as well.
Giving you the opportunity.
And she is fantastic. Like that, texting you, would text me, you know, a nice message. You know, I know she's going to her own stores at the moment. You know, sending her loads of love. Yeah,
I only said to my sister, I need to give her a ring when she was texting me. You know, when you.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, I do need to, you know, give her a ring. Check in and see, but it's amazing, even in people's struggles, how they can step out of that and still support and still wish you well and tell it. Like, it's amazing, you know.
And that's it. Like, I mean, you know, suicide is a thing forever. You know, and what we're trying to do is get people to come down, you know, knowing that you're not on your own. You know, because I used to think for years, like, no one's going through what I'm going through. There's no one going through. My kids, no one's going through it. Mortified. couldn't tell anybody, Jesus, no, that's a secret. Don't talk about it. Where everybody is going through it on different levels and worse.
Danny, I remember going into rehab with that attitude of, some of them is like me. They don't know my life, where I've been through. And then when I started listening to them, sitting down and listening to them, I was like, you're not the fucking only one, Lisa. You're not the only one going through this. But this is why I think it's so important to talk about it.
Yeah.
To let people know it's okay. There's help out there.
Yeah.
There's people who will understand, who will listen, and who will support you.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, the way you said, I don't have the money. How will I get in there? How will I be able to?
Yeah.
There is people who are willing to help, and there's good people out there, Danny.
There really is. As I said, mental health is real, and what we're trying to do for the community is just create a safe space, come down and talk, with no judgment.
Yeah.
And I would love young people today to engage in it. Not even with me, but to engage in something like this and maybe set something up, because young people, they're the ones at the moment that's really struggling. Yeah. Because the world has changed, and I've never seen it so bad. The epidemic of drugs is, oh my God, it's so bad, Lisa. And it's hard being young today. The pressure of social media, phones, all that kind of stuff.
I think what was scary for me, because obviously, trying to stay in the loop of what your kids may or may not be doing now. And teenagers have to be teenagers, Danny. Yeah. And we both know that saying to your child, don't take drugs when you go to that festival. I mean, you might as well be talking to the board out there on the fucking, in the garden. And I found myself think about this, Lisa, now think about how much you listen, because I didn't, and none of us really do. My, giving advice as in, please don't mix your drugs. Please don't be taking cocaine. And I know ketamine is huge at the minute, and ecstasy tablets. And I'm listening to myself saying, if you mix them, the heart doesn't know whether it's going right or left. You don't know whether one of them is too potent. And it's not even, because I know saying don't take drugs, it's stupid to a teenager that wants to take drugs, Danny.
It is.
So
but you know what? Lisa, society today can take your kid in 5 minutes, and, social media can do the same as well. I worked with a lady in the school. She was a teacher. Husband was a doctor. Loads of money. Fantastic parents. Their son battled addiction. School was there. People hung around me. Even though he has a voice himself to say no, everybody's doing it, And
it just affects all walks of life, Dan.
All walks of life. Addiction, I've learned so many different reasons why, but I've learned that take your soul, take your moral compass, takes everything,
Sure.
So be sure that, you know what you're doing. You take your first drug, it can be the ruination of you. And
well, isn't that the thing, Dan? If you knew that you are going to be, if you knew that taking that for fun at the beginning was going to lead you to where it left me.
Yeah.
On my knees at 49 going into Ashery, my second treatment centre. Well, you'd never laugh in the first place.
No.
But what happens is with children like yourself and like myself who has massive traumas, and massive to us. It doesn't matter whether someone says, sure, that was nothing. To us, they were big traumas. And when you take that first drink and when you take that drug, it's like medicine. It's like, oh my God, I feel so great. Yeah. I feel relaxed. I've no anxiety. Yeah. I'm not scared. I have confidence. Yeah. I'm going to walk into that room and own it. Why the fuck would you stop taking something that's making you feel like that when you've had anxiety and fear? You're going to take more.
100%.
So...
No, it does. Yeah, it's that hit, isn't it? Of feel confident, feel good, without it, I think the kids today smoke weed.
No, weed is like the new alcohol, I find.
Weed is the new, weed is the thing. Weed is the thing.
Yeah.
What I love about it is that when kids say, I'm not strung out on weed. And I'd say to them, well, let me just smoke it. Well, smoke it in the morning time and night time and during the day. Okay. Well, don't smoke it in the morning time. Oh no, I couldn't be without that. Here in Dixie.
Yeah, and they don't realise that. Yeah. And do you know what I find? And I've said this to a friend of mine down here. Every teenager will go through that phases, right? But when you have kids, let's say, like, so my youngest son, Luca, who has gone through a lot so far, he's lost a parent, he's watched a parent addiction, and I abandoned him, and I'm sure, you know, the effects that has. So I don't mind that he's been a teenager and he's experimenting, because that's what teenagers do. We wish they didn't, but if we're being realistic about it. But then I'm like, okay, he has some traumas there. He's lost his dad. I made things harder for him and I abandoned him. And someone like him, I know that drug can have the effect it had on me. It can make him feel better.
Yeah.
Now, look, life is not like that for us now, Danny. Like, you know, I'm here and I'm stable and I'm doing well and I'm very lucky. But that was always my fear when I knew he was starting to experiment. That what if it's not a phase for a lot? It's not, they stay in it.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with it. They start at 14 and then at 25, you're looking at a kid going into rehab, no job, no education.
That's it. And you know what? My son is 12, Devin. And it's amazing. Like, you know,
he's 12.
He's 12, yeah. And I live out in Logan.
I don't know that. I never thought you were saying.
No, I'm out in Logan. So when you come in town, like, you know, and you see them all vaping, even vaping, he hates it. Or if he smells the weed, he goes, oh God, you know what I'm saying? I hope that stays with him, you know. Now, I will have a conversation with him in the next few months.
Yeah.
You know, I got his first phone there for his birthday in July.
It's hard, isn't it?
It's very hard, you know. Now, I know that he's a great kid. I know that we're watching him. I'm hopeful that he doesn't go down that route, you know. I'm hoping that his brother has a chat with him, you know.
Yeah.
Some kind of way, you know.
Are they close as him and your
Yeah, very, very close, very close, you know, and very similar personalities. And that part scares me because, you know, with Dane,
I know we're hoping that Dane might come on and have a
I'm hoping he'll come on and have a conversation. He could tell his story to you, you know.
Can I just say that I listened to, can I say just one thing about his music? He sent me a song and I shared it with Carla last night, and our boyfriend, and like I had to listen to it about 3 times, and it's absolutely amazing. It's so expressive. He's talking about all the issues that I'm talking about on this podcast, and he's only 22.
Yeah.
And his awareness and his insight and how he feels about it all. And I think the song is 3 minutes, 48 seconds.
Yeah.
And he's telling you so much in that.
Yeah.
And you can nearly hear the pain in what he's singing about through those lyrics. It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
It really is.
He's very good at articulating himself.
I can tell.
Through music. And I think when he's talking about it, I think every young man and woman today and teenagers can relate to it. That's going through the same process that he's going through. You know, he's doing well at the moment, you know, and we went to Thailand there for a few weeks. And I'd never seen looking so well. Never seen looking so well, you know. So when you come back to Dublin, it can be like a cesspit, you know, for
it's
the
back
kids.
Into the furnace, isn't it?
It's back into old routines, old habits, you know, and it's same groups, same gatherings, you know, and
but it's that pull.
It is that pull.
It's very difficult to say no and walk away when you're surrounded by stuff that's.
It is. No, I get that. I get that. And
it really is. Dan.
I get that. And maybe I'm thinking old school. Well, this is what I did. It's different now because the phones and the Snapchats. You can get a party in 10 minutes. That kind of way.
So, don't you want to feel you belong to something? Setting up that group that give you great purpose and meaning. Yeah. And for me now,
and I have him in the group as well. So he's starting.
Hopefully,
I'm
that's where he gets the But if you're 22 and you don't have that tribe of people and you don't feel like you mean and not belong, and we all want to belong, then can you imagine how lonely and isolating that is for a youngster 22 trying to do the right thing?
I do.
Living in the city.
No, it's so hard. It's so hard. I know it's so hard because there's nothing for young people today. If you're working and you know,
if you're lucky enough that they're disciplined enough to get up out of the bed and go every day.
This is the thing, you know what I mean? And you have to have that. You have to want that. And you have to want something different in your life than taking drugs. You know?
I've just thought of something there. I'm not sure whether it was said to me before, but I'm not sure whether it's in a movie, so I'll quote it anyway. You think you're a tough guy, this man says to his son. He's obviously getting into trouble, involved in crime.
Yeah.
You know what a real tough guy is? A man that wakes up every morning at 6 o'clock and puts on his work clothes and walks out the door and doesn't come home till 6 in the evening.
Absolutely.
That's a real tough guy.
Absolutely.
I remember that landing with me, because I thought men when I was younger who went out to work.
Yeah.
Where I
Guys.
lived, were Egypts. And I thought the really tough guys and cool guys was the people who doing smash and grabs and robbing and selling drugs. And I'm being honest with you.
No, it's all
I
you knew.
like that now, Danny.
No, of course not.
Of course I don't. I'm 43, so I mean, you know, things change. But I think it's a great, if young people could understand that, that's where the quality, that's where your qualities lie, discipline, routine, getting out to work.
It really is.
Well, how do you give that to kids that's growing up amongst? You're the Egypts and the cool guys are the people. How?
I was talking with a young lad before. Said to him, I said, you're so young. I said, get an apprentice. Get a job. Get a job doing something new, labour. €600 a week. You know what he says to me?
Oh.
That wouldn't cut it for me. €600 a week. I was like, wow.
I know.
He said, I had a lifestyle to maintain clothes.
No.
Weekend, binging.
I'd laugh if it wasn't true. I know it's true. I know.
And you're like, €600 is good money. It really is good money. Like,
I know that now, but I would have been that young person. I'd be like, what? I remember saying something really cruel to my sister. I lived in Lockshiny, and she moved in with me because my husband died. Yeah. And she wanted to support me. And I wasn't easy to support. Trust me, I wasn't a great person to be living with at the time. And she was getting up. She got a job in the city eventually when she was well enough. She found my husband dead. And when she was getting to 5:30 in the morning and walking up the dark country road to get the bus into the city centre from Lockshiny. And she came home one day and I said, somebody was coming about getting a job. I said, I wouldn't work for a tenner an hour. Are you joking me? I wouldn't give anyone my time for a tenner an hour.
The lifestyle you had.
And she said to me, she never forgets that day because she was getting up at 5:30 and getting the bus in, and the way I said it to her. And only a few months ago, I actually feel upset because I can't believe I was in that place to say that to my young sister. I was never in trouble in my life or involved in crime. And I said, do you remember, because I had to fucking me humble pie, you know? Yeah. And I said to her, do you remember that comment I made? I'm so sorry that I said that to you that day. Me ego, I don't know who I thought I was. I'm so sorry. That was such a mean thing to say. And I'm grateful to have a job today, to be able to work. Yeah. And the only reason I'm bringing all that up to you is because I can relate to those young people and where their heads are at. And I don't know how we change that. Talking about it might help.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? And that's what it takes. I love young people to do what we're doing in the group. You know, of bringing new people in. How can we change it? You know, how can we change the mindset? Like in our group, like, you know, it's not only about drugs and drink. It's not. It's about, like, in our group, I'd say it's 70% grief. Losing somebody.
Lost so many people. Yeah.
You know, so you'd love young people to step up and say, I'm starting a group off. You know, and the knock-on effect is that people listen and say, because so many people now, young people, want to get well.
I know.
They don't want to be doing drugs.
It's not the same, sure, it's not.
They're not. And then they're saying, I'm not getting that now, drugs anymore. You know, but what else to do in my life?
They're bored.
You know, they're bored.
Yeah.
When I heard you talking about, you know, you're in college, and I was like, to myself, I was like, oh, wow. Christine was like, I actually want to do something myself now. I actually want to do something. I just finished off doing a mindfulness course there in a sanctuary in town. And I highly recommend anybody to do it because sit with yourself, it's hard, but it's great.
Works. No, it does. I know how difficult it is, but I know it works.
It does.
Just out, Danny.
You know, and I will apply for a course next year in college because for years I believed self-doubt, you know, you couldn't do that, you know. Just stick to the football or something, you know. That's where level you're at. we critique ourselves so much, you believe it. The mind runs away and you believe it.
Oh, and that's who you become.
That's who you become.
That,
you become that
yeah.
person, and you're like, I'll just stay in the background the rest of my life, live out my days. And, no, I actually want to do something myself.
And it's an AA sort of saying, and you can apply the principles to AA to every area of your life, but it's a program of action. So you can think about doing something for 5 years if you want, Dan.
Yeah.
But until you apply the action part of it.
Yeah.
So the awareness is first, which you have.
Yeah.
And then it's accepting where you're at.
Yeah.
It's the second part.
Yeah.
And the third part to making it all happen is the action part.
Yeah.
Without the action part, nothing happens. You stay in the head.
That's it. Like,
and you stay talking about it.
Absolutely. So you know what? I did a child psychology diploma, and that was followed up by a mental health awareness. It goes hand in hand.
It's fantastic.
I did it for myself. Just to go back in.
To learn about who am I?
And
I think every person involved in that work is struggling to find out who they are first, and then you can give it to other people when you know.
Absolutely. And I know. So what happened was I got in touch with my old tutor. I said, I had this group going, I said, and I'd be really interested in maybe, letting them do the same course I did. She goes, oh yeah, no problem. So big shout out to the Larkin Centre, Marine Larkin Centre. They funded it all for free. And says, no problem at all. So the groups on a Tuesday and Saturday, they now get this for free because a lot of my stay-at-home moms, and they're looking about their own childhood and then their own kids, how they're parenting. Listen, there's no wrong way to parent a child.
Well, you asked me, what can we do and how do we change it?
Yeah.
And you're sitting there doing exactly.
Yeah.
So I've maintained and said to someone on the podcast, I think it was Emo, we're trying to fix the kids, but we're still broken.
Yeah.
So the kids were sending for help, then they're coming back to us and we're undoing all the stuff.
Yeah.
So with those parents, stay-at-home young mothers going in and getting that mindfulness course and the mental health course, they're going home with that knowledge and passing it on to their children.
That's exactly it.
And that's exactly what you're doing. So exactly what we're doing here right now, that's the change.
That's it.
But it doesn't happen overnight. It's a long process.
It's a long process.
It doesn't matter as long as we're heading in the right direction. Though.
That's exactly it, So, so all the new people that come in, they will avail of this course.
Brilliant.
And there's no pressure. If you don't want to, it's fine. But it's free. Again, the inner city again, if much of that cost, you go and do a course and, it costs you a few quid. And financially, today's...
It stops people going because,
they don't have it. No one has, and everybody's struggling. So, you learn so much. And like that, you want to do more and more. And before you know it, you're thinking, I probably would do a college course, and I'm at that place now, where I want to do it. As I said, I got to do a computer course. That's fine. That can be done. But that was my biggest fear. See that there? That, you have no idea. That was my biggest fear of someone saying, there's a laptop. Oh, hang on. I'll be back in a minute.
You didn't know where the power button was.
I'll be back in a minute. Leg it, gone home. And
I honestly, and it's funny because I never did a computer course, and I have a friend of mine who's doing the same course a semester ahead, and she went and she did a computer course because she was struggling to do all the stuff in there. But I get the kids to help a lot. But what I found was after my first year, I couldn't believe the difference in trial and error. So I kept making mistakes, calling the kids and saying, I don't know what I'm doing here. And then they'd show me, and the difference in me in year 2 with the computer, Danny, without even doing the course. So you just naturally start to... So it's all the fear in your own
it is. It is. It's all the carnage today, I think I read a book there, Brian Penny's book.
I went to see him actually in when he was, where was he? In DCU, was it?
Was DCU or was he Minute?
No, it was DCU. We did that. Yeah.
Look at his story.
Amazing.
Herman, 14.
Up there in front of an auditorium. I remember many people was at that. It was a big auditorium in DCU that night. It was unbelievable.
And it is it's like we're all as good as the next person. We really are. And I always walk through town and When I do, I go over and I have a chat with one of our own in the streets, you know, because they all have stories.
I know, and you know what? That's why I said I could do this for another 10 years and never run out of people
Never.
to share their
Never.
stories.
And
And what you said there about we all have it in us, I've learned that people with traumas and that end up in addiction and that live in poverty from a young age and lack education and all those major issues that we struggle from that we've spoke about. And what we do is we layer on these suits of arms.
Yes.
So I think trying to access that person who's a good person, who can learn, who can be proud of themselves, who can be a good parent. It takes us a bit longer to get there because of all the armour we've had to put in front, or was put on us by our parents and where we came from. But once you start stripping off the layers, you start saying, I'm good enough. I can do this. It doesn't matter how I say something. It's do you understand me? Me accent, me whatever. Do you understand what I'm trying to convey? Yes, well then that's all that matters. But it's in us all then. And I know it's in you, and I'm sitting here looking at you, and I could talk to you for another 5 hours. I know. Could sit here.
It's mad. Like, it's mad what trauma does to you, you know. It is. And suppose the space we have created now, people come down. You know, it's filled. The room was filled with love, and I really genuinely mean that. It's filled with so much.
I would love to go one of the nights.
Listen, I'll give you a text in the next few days, and we can book you in and come down, and sit with us, and have the chats about where you were, you know, in your life, and you know, because I knew Martin. I went to school with Martin.
Yeah, you know? we spoke a little bit about that, and you know what? It was real. I don't know any of his school friends or anything. I forgot because I remember Martin telling me that. And you said some things about him that no one would really know because people would only know the things that they may have read or the things that people say about him. And he was you wouldn't think he was from the city. He was very alternative.
He was, do you know what? He stuck to himself. It was me, him, and another lad called Keith were friends in school. And
Colin.
And
great friends, both of them.
And Martin was a rock dude. His memories, denim jacket with his badges all over, you know, and the mullet in the hair, you know, and the pencil case and
everything organised, I bet.
And then Metallica written all over, and he'd be sitting there with his pens creating all these designs for rock bands and stuff. But you know, what I knew of him, he was a lovely, genuine, down to earth lad. That's what he was, you know. And like that, your paths change. And we spoke as well about the lifestyle is fantastic, and in that moment it's great. And I suppose what we said about, you know,
it's it's everything you've ever wanted as a child. That's what I'll say about it, and that's why it feels so good. Because you thought that all that stuff, holidays, having fancy stuff, driving a nice car, never even a very fancy car, just a nice car, family car. Being able to pay the bills, have a fridge full of food, send your kids to school, and you know, well dressed, and pay for all that if you want hobbies and stuff, you know, all that stuff. And I remember, you know, and I shared this a few times, thinking, now I have what you all have because of deals and them. And because I never thought that was for me then growing up. I never thought that I'd have. I never thought I'd get to travel. I never thought I'd get to eat in fancy restaurants. That was for other people. So when I got to do that, couldn't believe that I was getting to experience that type of stuff. But then I spoke to you about getting older and getting a conscience and starting to see what's really happening while I'm being able to do these things. And I remember having a conversation with my husband and asking him, you know, why, like his father was worked his whole life and worked hard, and his family are a really quiet family. His mother, she went to work, and I says, how did you ever get mixed up in, you know, in that life? And he said, my father worked his whole life shifts, and he never had anything to show for it. And I didn't want to end up like that.
But you know what?
And that was the reason, because I knew that criminality came from generations. Before him, it didn't.
But you see, academically, he was top of the class.
Very
you know
smart.
what I mean? That he was top of the class. Like, you know, any subject, he was brilliant at. So he could have went down a different path and made a lot of money. but it was easy money, I suppose, with quick money.
And you know what? People say this and I know it's a saying that's every said. There's fuck all easy about it because it's. I know it said it's why it's said that way. But when you look back and you reflect on the death, the loss, the through generations, like what it started in the 80s with my father. You know, actually yesterday he was 43 years, he was shot 22nd of November. It's his anniversary, the 25th. And he died 3 days later. And when I look at all my cousins who have been murdered and killed, and the ones that went to prison and the ones that died from addiction. So when that term is used, it's easy money. People are dying, and people are dying with being involved in it, but also from drugs, from addiction, from drugs being sold. So there is nothing easy about that life. It makes life so hard for the people in it, for the people who's on the receiving end of it, for the children, and then it keeps going. It's like a cancer in someone that someone is genetically predisposed to. I remember looking at my son, who was an academic like his father, and I remember he had a couple of bad years in his teenage years, and he was going down a road that I was too familiar with. And I thought, I can't do this. I don't want to live this life anymore. I don't want my children involved. And thankfully, he's disciplined. He likes work. He gets up every morning. He's a great kid. And I remember being able to breathe. I nearly getting upset and saying, oh God, thank God, I'm not going to have to go through this with him. And look at that suffering and that pain. And he'd either go to prison on me, or he'd have to move away, or he'd be killed on me. And then for me, that was like, I remember saying to him, when he got his apprentice force, he didn't know whether he was going to be put over in Tallaght somewhere. I said, I don't care, I'll drive it every morning. Give him that car and I'll drive it every single morning because I'm so petrified. You know, once you get to a certain age and you realise what it comes with, who would want it?
Listen, as we spoke about, how many families these have been destroyed because people are living a nice lifestyle, you know, people's doors are being kicked in. And today, being murdered over like probably $5,000.
I know.
You know, and it's crazy. And like, you see people's house being petrol bombed now, you know, and they're all people inside. You're like, what's the world country? You know, it's just, it's so hard to live at the moment. And to get into, to want even to get into that lifestyle, you know, be prepared for the backlash because nothing good comes from it, you know.
But look at how it's glamorized. You look at these fucking RTE, fucking Love Hate, and the new one that's on. I won't look at them because it makes out that it's a glamorous life. And show the reality of it. Show what it does to people and does to families. You know, and look at, as I said to you, I was very comfortable in that. I will own my stuff. I was very comfortable in that life. I grew up with it. It was something that I didn't even see it was wrong until I saw it was wrong, and the devastation then.
That's it.
And if we don't break it, the cycle, we pass it on.
And that's it, like, you know, as I said, like, you know, it's breaking that cycle of young people to come in that are actively, you know, in addiction, or, you know, just starting off to come in and talk to the older people, because believe it or not, you know, we were all young once, you know, we have all the wealth and knowledge beside us. And all it takes is a few people to come in and have the conversation, you know, of helping to change this. You know, not that we have the answers for it, but
do you think having conversations and people coming forward and talking about the devastation of it will help?
I think so. I think, like, I think as you coming down being a guest speaker and saying, well, you know, I lived the lifestyle, I had A, B, C, and D, but this is what happened, you know, you know, and I think it's knocking that message home to them to say,
this is the ugly part.
This is the ugly part.
This is the ugly part. You know, and this is the truth.
And in your head, like, in their head, oh, I'm making 20 grand next week. That money's never coming home, you know, and then they owe 20 grand out, you know, and the net parents are left to hold the board of that.
I know, because I know you know, and I know that parents are being phoned and the house is going to be phoned.
Listen,
Parents are borrowing out of credit union.
It's,
I've heard it so much, and I know there's a lot of suffering. I really do. And look, I don't have no want. I'm no fucking God. I know there's so many people in there, and for a long time, you have can't think of the guy's name from Dinner City, Joe
Down.
And all them doing amazing work for years. And it's so difficult to try and make change in an area that's so immersed in that life for so long. But look, we can only talk about it and tell people, give the experience, give people hope. Say there's another way. There's a complete other way of living. And I'm not sure what else we can do. We can, as parents, fix ourselves so in turn we can do better jobs with our children. And for me, that's the biggest thing.
It is. It's looking after your own, and trying to guide them as best you can. Look, as you said, Lisa, when you become teenager, 18, 19, 20, they're going to sample things, it's out there and it's going to happen.
That's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. No, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
I remember my daughter asking her the difference between a house party, like in a smaller town, and a house party in Dublin. And she was laughing because she was talking about a couple of kids that she knew. She said, let's say we were at a party down in a small town and everybody bought drugs. When the drugs is gone, everybody's like, there's no more drugs, let's go. And you mightn't be able to get the person back who brought the drugs. When you're in the city, she said, whoever is giving the drugs, and we will know this because the parents she says, they're probably selling that and there's an endless supply.
Endless.
So it's a 2-day, 3-day party and then everybody owes out. So that was the difference in, the two groups of people, if you want to compare. And that was coming from a young person telling me this. And I said, well, that makes actually a lot of sense.
It does. I mean, the city centre, yourself, it's like,
well, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere, but the city centre,
it's so accessible.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. I just find it very hard driving through town. Show my Bailey Street and just
fucking Aiming Street.
It's horrendous.
It's hard to watch it.
Hard. It's never like that before. Kind of changed.
I used to go there with my nana to the butcher's holding a hand as a young child. We'd go into Allhousens and Buckley's. And then we went to the Kylemore for a cake. She used to get a cake or a pancake in there when I was a kid. And I do, it's sad to go down, but what you do, move people on somewhere else. That's not solving anything either.
Solving nothing, and we're slowly, you go up them streets. Jerry Kane's when he's up soon, ball paper face.
He's not. He gone?
He's gone as well, yes.
Shit. Yes. He's been there since I've been a kid.
Yeah, always, you're losing so much.
Things are always going to change, I think, Danny. But I think if they're changing for the worse and not for the better, that's the sad thing about it, isn't it?
It is.
Since the beginning of time, you have to be able to change and accept changes in life. But I think when you see something getting worse and children suffering more and struggling mental health, addiction, all these massive issues. And as I said, not one person can fix them alone. Mother Teresa has a lovely saying, actually, and I often put it on my board up there. If you want to save the world, go home and love your children.
True.
And I thought to myself,
so true.
Isn't that?
Starts at home.
If we can start under our own roof. And then when we have a bit more in the tank, like what you're doing with your group, then we can offer more to people and give them safe spaces and platforms to talk about these issues that can be taboo because of shame and guilt. And I know that I still get scared sometimes in sharing and in talking because I'm human and I don't want to be judged and I don't want people to.
Oh, that was my biggest fear.
So
that was my biggest fear.
You know what, Lisa, nothing changes if nothing changes.
That's it.
That's
it. Like the judgment for me was like, someone judges me. Oh, Lisa, if someone judges me, I could take myself out of the room.
Hold on. If you're saying it about yourself, and someone comes up and they say, "Oh my God, you're a terrible mother." Yes, I have been a terrible mother. I have. I failed. I was. I didn't step up to the plate. But I know that because I'm saying it about myself. So if you have a problem with that, I'm really, really sorry. But I'm, to be able to own that is very freeing as well.
Yeah.
It's never, writing to have kids. And you know what the sad thing is about? I think I spoke about this yesterday. Children will forgive you for anything because all they want is to be loved and have parents who are there for them. And it's really sad because what it's really saying is they will let you away with anything and then forgive you. Now, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it doesn't matter what I do because I hope to never, ever be the person I was in my darkest hour. But bless them. They do forgive and they do.
They do.
They may never forget.
No. Even my daughter, like, you know, and I suppose Diane as well, like, to a certain extent. Like, regardless of, every child is trauma.
Every child.
Don't think for a minute there's a parent out there. It doesn't exist. I think with Leanne and me, the relationship's great now at the moment. It's great, and thank God it is, but it wasn't for years. It was hindered for years, and I was like, how can I make this better? I had no answers. I had no answers. Didn't know how to do it. But I suppose I started with myself saying, right, where did you go wrong with yourself and sit with yourself? And that's it. It's sitting with yourself and being honest,
Did you think when you started to get well and healed a bit, that's when the relationship?
Possibly, yeah.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like it's work on yourself, fill your own cup up, and then they will say, your dad seems different. Your dad seems to be listening. Your dad seems to be seeing me.
Yeah.
And because when we're not present, Dan, we're in and out of their lives. How are you? Yeah, I'll bring you there tomorrow. Yeah. But when a child starts saying, I feel like I'm being heard, I feel like I'm being seen, and all that stuff, then you see them softening with you, and they and it's like it was fucking nothing got to do with them. Yeah. It was all got to do with you. It
was all me. Carping my own head, doing my own thing, doing silly things, not being present, and just you think back to when you're going off doing things and you're lying about things,
because it's all about yourself. The
selfishness. It was the selfishness, just me going off to enjoy myself and whatever else and stuff. Yeah, but come a long way since then, Don't have.
Yeah, and it's great to sit here and reconnect with someone from your past. So last time I saw you, you'd be like on a mad run. Like, all right, Danny, how's things? What's the story? It would have been a bit of that. Might have saw you back in the nightclub or the party that we were going to. But it's been a long time, and it's great to reconnect, and it's great to hear people on similar journeys. Yeah, I know we're coming up to sorry.
Yeah, you're all right. Yeah, so maybe a big question. I am. Maybe a big question.
Is there anything else you want to add before we?
Oh yeah, just I suppose we always say in the group, please don't suffer in silence, because I've lost a lot of people through suicide, and most recently there, it's over a year ago, especially a friend of mine. And it's everywhere, And I'd appeal to everybody, not just the group that we're involved in. Anyone. You're not a burden to anybody. Yeah. Just, reach out and speak, especially to the men. Please. Just speak. It's so important. If you want to get in touch with everyone with Soul Hate and so on, Instagram, in more welcome to come. That's really it, Lisa. Yeah. And a big thank you to yourself for having me here today.
I'm so happy to have you here today.
I really enjoyed it. I was nervous coming down. Very nervous coming down. Very nervous starting. I was like, what's he going to ask me?
And then, you know what? It's nearly palpable off something. And here it was. It's okay, because as soon as we start talking,
we're going to be okay. Yeah.
We will be okay.
And I just want to say, podcast as well. Well done to everybody, but especially to Emer. I would know Emer, and I would know the household going past. It'd be chaotic. And you have Rhonda, and you had Emer. You're like
bipolar,
two different, But she's been through the mill, through the absolute mill, and I just want to. It came on, was very admirable. What she did. And she was brilliant. And I hope she's good.
She's doing amazing, and even to reconnect with her, getting those relationships back in their life, that was dismantled for all their own reasons. But thanks for that, Danny. And I'm so happy, because when I texted you, I was waiting to be telling you no, like, because no, man.
Yeah.
So thanks so
No,
much.
you're very welcome.
And
Thank you.
I didn't know you had that group, and I'm following you
Yeah.
now, and I'm really looking forward to going down one of the evenings. I think, I'm sitting here and I'm always make good eye contact with people, and it tells a lot, the eyes,
Yeah.
and because of the stuff you're talking to, you can still feel all that stuff.
Like the eyes are willing to the soul, aren't they?
But it's in all that said, to be sitting here and to have relationships with your daughter,
Yeah.
and to be moving on, and
Yeah.
to be doing these wonderful things to help people, it's so admirable. It is.
Yeah.
Because I know how difficult it is growing up where we grow up.
Yeah.
Similar,
Yeah, no.
and
Yeah.
Fairview, that
Yeah.
very similar areas. So it's I hope we stay in contact and
Absolutely. Yeah.
and stay in touch.
Podcast.
And I hope we're sitting here in a few years' time again, and we're looking back and looking at great change for the inner city,
Yeah.
for ourselves, for our children.
Yeah.
I hope we can we break that cycle, of
Yeah.
that generational stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the generational stuff, I feel the layers are being peeled back by ourselves that are aware that, maybe growing up that way years ago isn't the right way. That's all they knew.
Imagine
And
that.
it's stopping it, in a way.
Yeah.
So,
Well, as I said, it's not what I say, it is what I do. So leading by example can only make better change. And look, I say this all the time, we're still human. We will suffer. People make mistakes. We make mistakes. No God's here. But we're certainly, I know, trying to make under these roads better places. And hopefully that will have a knock-on effect. It was great having questions.
Good.
So obviously tear down these walls. If you could tear down any wall internally or externally, what would it be then?
It would be not to carry the stigma of someone else's gift. It's on them, not on you. So people have gone through so much abuse.
So many people who have been victims to whatever it is.
Exactly.
Are walking around in shame with stigma, and it's not there. It ain't there. Yeah. And especially children. Yeah. Especially blaming children for adults' mistakes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a really good one. We had Carla with shame last week, and now you with stigma. Danny, thanks so much. It was great to have it. And you're so relaxed looking now sitting there. I was just saying, but thanks so much. And I will see you soon, Danny. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks so much.